Yo, what's up guys? Before I get into today's video, please leave a like on the video. It only takes a second and it helps the video out a lot. Also, leave any comments down below. I'm going to be responding to most comments, so leave any comments or questions about today's video or any topics or just any questions you guys got in general for me. But yeah, let's just jump into today's video because it's a pretty big video, I'm going to be honest. And the Chicago Bulls have shown interest in Billy Donovan and Chris Paul. You know, there's been a lot of potential like Chris Paul trades to the Chicago Bulls. You know, him and Zach LaVine are good friends. Also, like him, Coby White and Wendell Jr. are good friends. Chris Paul is like their mentor. He pretty much grew up like training them and playing at like training camps with them and such. And as you guys know, yesterday like was the last day of like Billy Donovan and OKC's like contract. And I guess they're parting ways, which kind of does make sense, you know. Billy was brought to OKC to try to like win a championship with like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Of course, they're not in that stage anymore. They're like, I'm pretty sure they're like going to the rebuilding stage. I mean, they have like 7 future first round picks and a bunch of young players on that team. So it makes sense why they're moving on from Billy Donovan. It does kind of surprise me, but at the same time, you know, they're rebuilding and they probably want to like tank a little bit and let their younger players develop. So it's looking like OKC is going to rebuild and blow up their whole roster. And that most likely means they're going to trade Chris Paul. And I've been seeing a lot of Bulls fans in my comments and on Twitter, you know, saying we should trade for him. And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind Chris Paul. You know, I would love Chris Paul on this roster. I feel like he'd fit well with us. Like I said, he already has a good connection and relationship with some of our young players. And Chris Paul's a great point guard. I mean, the Bulls they would love to have him, all the young guys. You know, Chris Paul, he makes all of his teammates 100% better instantly anytime he just touches the court. You know, Chris Paul is like one of the best point guards of all time. But the thing is, you know, if we want Chris Paul, it's going to take us some future draft picks and maybe a young player because last year, you know, Chris Paul's contract was looking terrible because he didn't play the best and he got hurt or whatever. But now this year, he just probably had one of the best seasons of his career. He led OKC to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they had like a 2% chance to make the NBA playoffs. So I expect OKC to expect like, you know, future first round picks or seconds and maybe a young player in return. Because Chris Paul, he still looks good. You know, I'm pretty sure he's like 35. I'm pretty sure he's making like $40 million a year. So I wouldn't do that trade unless we could give him like Otto Jr. and like Cristiano, Felicio, maybe a second round pick, you know, just like a salary dump for them with Otto. And like getting like a second round pick, and then the Bulls of course taking Chris Paul and his terrible contract as well. But yeah, right now I'm going to get back onto Billy Donovan, and then later in the video I'm going to be looking at Chris Paul, like potential trade packages with the Chicago Bulls. But like I said, Billy Donovan and OKC did not agree upon like an extension or whatever, so he's like a free agent on the head coaching market right now. And the second that OKC decided not to bring him back, it was all over Twitter about Bulls fans going crazy, you know, him already like being linked to the Bulls. And then on Twitter last night, Woj confirmed that the Chicago Bulls are interested in him. So I expect our Taurus and Mark Eversley to at least call him, you know, give him a chance. But I'm not sure if he would want to come to Chicago. You know, he just kind of left a rebuilding team, and that's kind of where we're at still. So maybe he wants to go to like a contending team, or maybe he doesn't want to coach again. I don't know. I'll of course keep you guys updated with that. Definitely leave any comments or questions you guys have about the Bulls possibly signing Billy Donovan as our next head coach. The one thing that I can say about this man, he's always been surrounded with winning. You know, Donovan coached at Florida from like 1995 to 2015, and he finished with pretty much a 72 win percentage, and he also won back-to-back NCAA titles. And as far as the NBA goes, you know, he coached the OKC Thunder for pretty much 5 seasons. He made the playoffs every year, and it of course included that one trip to the Western Conference Finals. And OKC had a 61% win rate under Billy Donovan. So the man has been around nothing but winning. You know, former players that have he's coached have talked nothing but positivity about him. Joakim Noah and Bradley Beal both played for Billy Donovan at one point in their careers. And Joakim Noah said that he was the best coach that he ever had, and he was like a father figure to him. And Bradley Beal agreed with that and also said he was one of the best coaches I've ever played for. also been like a second dad to me. So that just shows, you know, Billy Donovan is nothing but a winner, and his like former players have good connections with him, and they obviously trust him and love him as a head coach. So he wouldn't be a terrible option. I'm sure our Taurus is going to give him a call, like I said. But yeah, definitely leave any comments below about the whole Billy Donovan rumor going around. The Bulls are obviously interested, and I expect the interview to happen soon. But now into the whole Chris Paul situation. You know, I've been seeing a bunch of people in the comments saying the Bulls should trade for Chris Paul. Like I said, he wouldn't be bad. He'd fit right in with us. He'd make the Bulls a much better team. Honestly, we'd probably be a playoff team if we got him. You know, a good veteran point guard that knows how to run an offense and make all like his teammates better. He just sounds like the perfect player for the Bulls. It just sucks that his contract is kind of big, and he's like 35, I'm pretty sure. And of course, like I said, OKC is going to expect like a nice haul in return for him now. And on pimpinateeasy.com, they put together 3 potential trades for Chris Paul. So I'm just going to read those, go over those, and give my opinion. Definitely leave any comments or questions below while I'm going through them. And this first trade, I'm already looking at it, and I'm just saying hell no. The Chicago Bulls would get Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, and a future first-round pick. You know, the first-round pick and Chris Paul's nice, and also Dennis, he'd be a nice backup, you know, 6-man or point guard. But we'd be giving them Zach LaVine and Otto Porter Jr. You know, I really don't get the point of this. I just don't see the Bulls doing this. Why trade our best player for a 35-year-old point guard? It just doesn't make sense. And this second deal, I mean, I'd do this deal in a heartbeat. I'm going to be honest. You know, sure, if we do trade for Chris Paul, like I said, his contract is big. And the Bulls are supposed to be big players in like the 2021 free agency class. There's a bunch of big-name free agents, and the Bulls have a lot of money. I'm pretty sure we have 2 max contracts. So if we trade for Chris Paul, we're not going to have that much money. But let's be honest. I hate to be like this, but when have the Bulls ever signed a big-name free agent? But you never know, man. But yeah, this second potential trade would be the Bulls getting Chris Paul, the Thunder getting Thaddeus Young, Otto Porter Jr., and an unprotected first and a 2020 second. And I would do this trade in a heartbeat, man. I'm sick of the Bulls being mediocre and just a bad team. It's been a long, like, 3 to 4 years. Like I said, Chris Paul would fit in right with us and probably make us a good 6th, 7th, or 8th seed, possibly more. I mean, nobody expected him to do what he did with OKC, so I believe we have a more talented roster than OKC, honestly, so maybe we could even be better than that. But yeah, if this was a serious like trade, I'd be pretty happy with it. And the final trade, I really don't believe this would happen. I mean, it made sense that like OKC might trade Chris Paul and Steven Adams, but the Bulls would get Chris Paul, Steven Adams, and the Thunder would get Tomas Satoransky, Lauri Markkanen, Thad Young, and Otto Porter Jr. You know, there's no way that I just don't see OKC accepting this trade. You know, 2 solid players for, you know, Tomas Satoransky, nothing crazy, Thad Young, nothing good, an expiring contract, and Otto Porter Jr. Of course, they get Lauri Markkanen in return. Maybe they're really high on him. But I'm going to be honest, I really just don't see this trade happening. You know, like I said, if that second trade could happen, I'd take it. Or if the Bulls could trade like Felicio, Otto Porter Jr., and maybe like a future second or first, I'd think about that and consider it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Definitely leave any comments or questions about pretty much the Bulls possibly. I mean, we're going to definitely interview Billy Donovan, maybe sign him. It makes a lot of sense. And then us possibly trading for Chris Paul. Definitely leave any comments or questions below this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one.